Imagine a kingdom in spiritual ruins. For decades, the people of Judah have forgotten their origins, their laws, and their God. The temple in Jerusalem, once the glorious center of worship, has fallen into disrepair filled with dust, idols, and neglect. But in the 18th year of the reign of King Josiah, something happened that would change the course of history forever. It wasn't a battle or a political treaty, it was a discovery. Deep within the walls of the temple, a high priest named Hilkiah found a book, not just any book, the book of the law. But what exactly was this lost book? Why had it been forgotten? And most importantly, what did it say that caused a young king to tear his robes in grief? Today, we're rediving into 2 Kings chapter 22 to uncover the mystery of the lost book and the radical transformation of King Josiah. To understand the shock of this discovery, we have to look at what came before Josiah. Josiah's grandfather Manasseh was arguably the most wicked king in Judah's history. He filled Jerusalem with pagan altars and even sacrificed his own sons. His son Amon followed in his footsteps. By the time Josiah took the throne at just 8 years old, the law of Moses wasn't just ignored, it was virtually extinct from public memory. Josiah was different. He had a heart for the God of his ancestor David. In his late 20s, he ordered a massive renovation of the temple. He sent his secretary Shaphan to the High Priest Hilkiah to organize the silver and pay the workmen. The goal was simple: repair the building. But God had a much bigger renovation in mind, renovation of the soul. As the workers were clearing out the rooms, Hilkiah approached Shaphan with a startling statement recorded in 2 Kings 22-8. "I have found the book of the law in the house of the Lord." Now, scholars have debated for centuries, what exactly was this scroll? Most historians and theologians believe it was a version of the book of Deuteronomy. Why Deuteronomy? Because the specific reforms Josiah carries out later, destroying high places, celebrating the Passover, and centralizing worship, align perfectly with the commands found in Deuteronomy. Imagine the scene. Shaphan takes the scroll back to the palace. He stands before the king and says, "Hilkiah the priest has given me a book." And then, he begins to read. As Josiah listened to the words of the law, the reality of his nation's rebellion hit him like a physical blow. The book spoke of blessings for obedience, but it also spoke of terrifying curses for turning to other gods. 2 Kings 22:11 says, "When the king heard the words of the book of the law, he tore his clothes." Why? Because he realized that Judah was on the brink of disaster. They hadn't just made a few mistakes, they had completely broken their covenant with God. In his desperation, Josiah didn't turn to his generals, he turned to a prophet. The king sends a delegation to Huldah the prophetess. Her message is a good news, bad news scenario. The bad news: God confirms that because Judah had forsaken him, the disasters written in the book were indeed coming. The judgment was set. The good news: because Josiah's heart was tender and he humbled himself, he would not see the disaster in his lifetime. He would be gathered to his grave in peace. This is a pivotal moment in the biblical narrative. It shows that even when national judgment is inevitable, individual heart posture matters to God. Josiah didn't just sit back and wait for the end. He called a national assembly. He stood by the pillar in the temple and read the entire book of the law to everyone from the greatest to the least. He renewed the covenant. He cleaned house literally. He tore down the idols of Baal, removed the Asherah poles. And for the first time in generations, the people celebrated the Passover exactly as the lost book commanded. The story of the lost book is a warning about how easily we can lose the most important things. A book can be sitting right in the middle of the temple, right in the middle of our lives, and still be lost if it is unread and obeyed. Josiah's discovery led to the greatest revival in Judah's history. It reminds us that no matter how far a culture or a person has wandered, the Word of God has the power to bring us back. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next deep dive.